to get straight into it, because certain Premiership footballers, they got training tomorrow and all of that. So, guys, thanks for coming, by the way. This is Counter Attack Podcast. Keep liking, subscribing, sharing, all of that on YouTube, SoundCloud. And, we're going to get straight into it. So normally we would have the football debate bit or whatever, but we're going to do the first Q&A first. And it's going to be Jermain Defoe. So, guys, welcome Jermain Defoe on stage. So I didn't do the intros properly, so I'm Daps.
Spence.
Lamin,
well done. So yeah, JD, what's good?
Yeah, I'm good, man.
Is your mic on?
Is this working?
Can you hear me okay?
Can you hear me? Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, what's good, man?
Yeah, I'm good, thanks.
How's life treating you and all that?
Chilling, normal, training every day. I was actually at my mum's this weekend, just chilling. Switched off. We played yesterday.
Good result?
Yeah, it's good, and I'm here, man, with you lot.
Okay, cool. I don't know where we actually want to start. And guys, if you have questions, by the way, just put your arm up, and then we've got Yusuf on the side, and then he'll get our attention and whatever. But I don't know where you want to start. Oh, Spence, looks like you're ready.
I was doing a little research on you, Jermaine. And no, seriously, I think we need to clap this, because considering when you look at the teams that you've been at, which, inverted commas, you haven't been at a big team, yeah, but you're 7th on the list of players to score 100 Prem goals or more. So let's give a clap for that. And I mean, because naturally, if you're not at a bigger team, then you'd imagine you're not getting as much chances. So your ratio is going to have to be better. You might get, say, 2 or 3 chances a game, as opposed to 7 or 8 if you're at an Arsenal.
A lot of my at Arsenal.
If you're at an Arsenal, where you're going to create chances.
Well, at Tottenham.
No, come on, Joey.
Come on. Anyway, so I mean, obviously Arsenal, Tottenham, they're both massive clubs, and I was lucky to play, I think, 350 games for Tottenham with some great players. So obviously, when you're playing with great players, it helps. But of course, when I first started playing, I played against people like Ruud van Nistelrooy, and that played for Man United, natural goal scorers, got a lot of goals because they had obviously unbelievable players around them. The Andy Coles, Dwight Yorks, Teddy Sheringham's, Robbie Fowler, all these kind of players that played at these massive teams that are obviously in the 100 club, they call it, 100 goals or more. And even when I left Tottenham, I still managed to sort of stay in and around the top goal scorers in the league, which is obviously it's not easy, but I just. I think it's hard work and practice every day from day one, not just when you're sort of when I was at Tottenham and West Ham and stuff from day one, even when I was younger.
Just a quick one, Jermaine. And obviously saying hard work and practice, but these are some of the players who you're ahead of in that list. So Didier Drogba, Dwight York, Ian Wright, Van Persie, even though he's still going now, Aguero, Harry Kane, Les Ferdinand, Michael Owen.
So go on.
So obviously the list, I think Michael Owen's got 150, Les got 149, Ian Wright 113 or something like that. But I don't know, I think with Wrighty, when I spoke to Wrighty, he said that obviously at the time when he scored 30 goals or more one season, and that was in obviously the first division. Obviously then they changed it to the Premier League and that. But yeah, of course, some of the names that are on there, unbelievable, and they're not even in the top 10. So yeah.
Did you know when you were first starting out? Did you kind of know that you're going to hit the heights? Were you touted, or was it a thing of let's just see how it goes? Basically, just work hard.
No, I knew. Yeah, I knew from day one. And he's laughing because my friend Izzy was up.
Shout out Izzy.
I think with me it was I wasn't like everyone else, because when I used to train, and then a lot of my teammates would finish training, and they were sort of finish training and they're getting the showers and they're at home, and I can see them going off in their cars and doing whatever, going home playing PlayStation. I was still, so when they were in their cars, I was still training. Yeah. So I would stay behind with the goalkeeper finishing. Izzy always laughs because he said that even when I was 16, I used to walk in like I was in the first team. But it wasn't like an arrogance. It was just I was so dedicated and confident that I just knew that I'm willing to do whatever it takes to make sure that I'm in the first team as quick as possible. And I felt like, even at the age of 16, if I played, I just felt like if I played, I would score.
Yeah. Which strikers then growing up did you look at and think, I want to be like him, or who had the biggest influence on you as a striker?
I think Ian Wright. I think if you speak to a lot of, especially black players, I think Wright was the one that sort of like, that was like flying the flag sort of thing. So I think Wright was obviously my idol. You know, the goals that he scored for England and Arsenal, obviously. And not only that as well, he came into the game late.
Yeah.
I mean, I think Wright was playing for 10B when he was like 21, 22, 23. Yeah. And he come into the game late. And to go on to sort of like hit those sort of numbers and become Arsenal's record goal scorer, obviously before Thierry Henry, I think that's special. So for me, Wright was definitely my idol.
Jermaine, if I could ask you a question, what gave you? Obviously, you talked about practice, yeah. But what sort of gave you the confidence and the belief to think, you know what, I'm 16. If the gaffer plays me, you know what, no problem. I'll get goals. Outside of the dedication and the training, but what gave you the inner confidence to kind of dedicate yourself in that way?
I think the manager as well, to be honest. I think if you're at a football club where the manager gives the youngsters a chance, because remember, when I was at West Ham, the manager always said it doesn't matter how old you are, if you're good enough, you'll play.
Yeah.
And that was sort of like, that's just what it was like, because you had the likes of Rio Ferdinand, Frank Lampard that came through, Joe Cole, Michael Carrick.
Yeah.
So when you're sort of like in that environment and you know what, if I work hard and I impress the manager in training, then at some point, hopefully I'll get an opportunity like these lot. So obviously with a manager, I remember finishing in training, like shooting practice, when I was 16, 17, and the manager used to turn around to the first team players and say to like, that's how you finish.
Oh yeah?
So obviously, as a young player, when you hear something like that, again, that helps your development. And you get more, yeah, of course, you get more confident.
So did you look at any first team players, obviously, whether you want to name them or not, that's completely down to you, and think, you know what, I'm better than you.
You're dead.
Do you know what? It wasn't even that. It was a total respect thing, because it was one of them ones where we were cleaning their boots.
Yeah.
But obviously, I used to like have a laugh and a joke and stuff, because at the time I think it was like Freddie Canute, Paolo One-Chop,
player.
Ian Wright was there, Paolo Di Canio.
Player.
Do you know what I mean? So Wrighty, I loved him anyway. So it was just like, I mean, these things are just, can you imagine as a young boy having Ian Wright's posters all over your wall, wishing one day you'll meet him.
And then you're training with him.
And then when I first had my first professional contract, Wrighty's at the club. So it's not a coincidence. These things are meant to happen. So again, that helped my development, because I was like a sponge. I'd watch everything he did. I was watching him in training, watch his finishing, watch his movement, watch everything he did. And that was it. But of course, I used to think, do you know what? If I play in this team, I believe I can score.
Yeah. Let me ask a quick question, just moving a little bit further on, down your career. So obviously you've had a number of sort of loan moves and stuff like that, yeah? A lot of the young players that we come into contact with, they have a bit of a stigma about going out on loan, because they feel as if they're not loved by the club or whatever. And a lot of them don't see it like it's a chance to prove themselves. Obviously, every time that you went out, you always kind of pulled back, and it was always successful. So how did you sort of deal with it?
Once, when I was
just one
17,
time?
yeah.
Where to?
Bournemouth, yeah, from West Ham. But I think with the young players, the game's changed now. Because remember, when we started, we never had Instagram and Twitter, all these things. So we never come to change rooms and posting stuff that wasn't important. All we did was train, go home, sleep, train. That was it.
You was able to just
PlayStation.
focus.
So we used to focus. That's all you wanted to be. You get up in the morning, even before we used to drive. Well, drove before me. I used to get on the bus. I used to get on the bus, and then I used to go to training, and that's what I wanted to do. But I think the game now has changed, where a lot of young players, they want like nice cars, they want to go out. I never went to a nightclub.
Did you not?
I remember the first time I went to a nightclub.
Wicked.
So I was totally focused. I feel like a lot of players now, a lot of younger players are different. They want to be on Instagram, they want to go out, even before they've played a game.
Hold it closer.
So yeah, it was. I mean, I think it's not everyone, obviously not all the players, but I think the game's it's a lot different now compared to when we started.
So how do you see it then? Obviously, you're rolling around the training ground or whatever, and you've got a lot of these young players, like you said, Instagramming, Twittering, whatever, wanting that gratification. What do you think, and what kind of stuff do you kind of say to them?
Even at Bournemouth, I'm on to the younger players. To be fair, like to be fair, they'll come to me and that. But if I see them doing something, I just want to help them. Yeah. You get the first team players that will sort of like, not bullies, but they'll talk to the young players, especially in training. If they make a mistake, they will talk to the young players like they've never been there themselves.
Got you.
But I think there's like constructive criticism. Yeah, you can shout at someone, But then after training, put your arm around them and say, do you know what? This is why I said this.
Yeah.
But I feel like maybe a lot of players, first team players, will sort of like intimidate the young ones.
Yeah.
Where with me, I'll sort of like talk to the young ones, and even after training, I'll say to them, what have you eaten for lunch, or have you had breakfast, or I don't know, getting an ice bath or stuff
funny,
like that. So.
Yeah, it's funny you say that, because I've been in that situation myself, where I'm looking at first team players, and for whatever reason, you might have had a few loose passes. You know, like you're just not on it in one training session or whatever, and you get a first team player get on you and that. I've never understood why first team players do that. I've never understood why they don't do like the sort of the nurturing and bringing the boys through and that.
Yeah, because I think probably with those players, they're probably the ones that had it bad from their senior players. But I feel like, again, the game's changed, because when you're younger, I think it's a lot more ruthless, to be honest. I think a lot of players now are a lot more sensitive, maybe because there's so much money in the game. Where those younger players are on so much money, it's almost like you can't say anything to them, because if you say something to them, they'll, instead of going, do you know what? Nah, fuck this, I'm gonna show them. Yeah. They go the other way, they start sulking. And then they can't express themselves. I think that the game's like that now. So it's almost like you're not scared to say things to people. It's almost like, you know what? I'll just leave that. But when we were young, people would give it to you. Yeah. Like Trevor Sinclair used to give it to me every day.
It should be. It doesn't look like that.
Trevor Sinclair used to give it to me every day, but I wouldn't. He's the nicest guy. He's the nicest guy, but he would give it to me in training. But I never thought, you know what? I'm gonna hide now. I think, you know what? I'm gonna listen, because you're right. And then you get yourself in the first team, and that's it.
Very quickly, because I know you've got to go soon. Obviously, in terms of England, you know, representing England, however many games. Me personally, just as a football fan, I don't think you've really been rated by England properly. And I don't know if anyone agrees there or not.
Definitely not.
Yeah, but
definitely not.
Like, obviously, looking at England and the setup and looking back at your England career, like, do you know why that is? Or because you must be disappointed when you hear certain squads come out and you're not there. But I remember there was one, I see Theo in front of you. Like,
yeah, do you know what it was? You see,
mad.
People say to me, like, were you upset? And you know, sometimes when you know in your heart that, you know what, I should have been there, and the numbers are there, I've proved it.
Yeah.
So I'm just calm. When the managers, I remember Roy Hodgson phoned me one time and he said to me, you're not going to the World Cup in Brazil because I left Tottenham and I went to Toronto. So I left the Premier League and I went to another league. And he wants to pick, he said, I left you out and Michael Carrick and I think Ashley Cole. But he said to me, the reason why I left you out is because basically I want the players playing in the top league. So I thought to myself, okay, probably had 100 and something Premier League goals at that point.
Yeah.
From August until March, I was banging in goals in the Premier League and in Europe for Tottenham. Yeah. And then he said that to me. But I just thought, you know what? It is what it is. There's no point. I'm not going to waste my time and try and sell myself to you because I've done it. So and I remember the tournament. It wasn't great.
Yeah, it was rubbish.
And then it's more frustrating for me because I think, you know what? If I was there, and I'm not even saying that I should have started every game, but if I was there, especially at a tournament when you need, it's not just about the team, it's about the squad.
And in that one, you know, 2014, like I got it up here. So these are the strikers. So it was, well, taking yourself out. So Rooney, Lambert, Welbeck, and Sturridge.
Imagine that.
Went ahead of you.
Lambert.
And you know, like, no offense to, like, at that time, so Lambert got 13 goals that season. You got 11. You played 19 games for Toronto. Rooney got, what, 17. Welbeck got 9.
But do you know what, to be honest,
you're not in there.
But to be honest, it's one of them ones where, and it's not even, because sometimes, I don't even like talking about myself, but I think, even if I didn't score that season, and I've said it many times in interviews, even if I didn't score that season, leading up to that point in my career, I felt like I did enough to go to another tournament with England.
100%.
Because I went to the tournament in South Africa, and then the first 2 games I didn't play. We drew 1-1 against USA. Algeria, we lost. We drew 0-0, and they threw me in the deep end. I didn't even know I was playing. We won a game 1-0.
Save
and then we came back. We played against Bulgaria at Wembley. The first game back, I scored a hat-trick against Bulgaria at Wembley. I remember I did my ankle. I was out then, and even then when I came back, it was difficult to get back in the team. So, but I have to be honest, it's even before I made my England debut, I always knew that it's going to be difficult because before I spoke about people like the Ian Wrights, the Andy Cole scored 186 Premier League goals.
Les Ferdinand.
Yeah, he scored 186 Premier League goals, which is unbelievable, and he probably scored, I think out of 186 Premier League goals, maybe even 1 or 2 of them are penalties. And Shearer scored 260 with 50 penalties.
Yeah.
So these are that's the type of. Andy Cole never went to a tournament. Ian Wright never went to a tournament. Les Ferdinand went to a tournament in 98 in France. Did not kick a ball. So I always knew it would be difficult, but in a way, I still feel blessed because I went to a World Cup, went to European Championship, but I still feel like I should have gone to more.
Sorry, Jermaine, just a quick one as well. Like on that 2010 one, because obviously got out the groups and then it was second round against Germany. And obviously a lot of those young boys had played, they played the, I think it was, what was it, under 19s or 21s? They played in the tournament the year before. So like Khedira, Manuel Neuer, Jamal Boateng, Ozil. How was it? Because obviously you started that game. How good were they?
They were unbelievable. I remember Ozil on that night was...
Because that's when he was
Gareth Barry.
And Gareth Barry looked like he had the caravan on him.
That's it. But that's what everyone's. It's funny when we came back on that, but it was. I mean, that team. But to be fair, it was. I think when you look back, and there was that thing about when Frank scored, and it's sort of like it was a goal because obviously it was behind the line. I remember it vividly because I remember I was on the floor and I could see.
Do you think that would have changed the game?
I think it could. I think it would have been.
Or do you
that was given, it would have been 2-0.
It would have been 2-2. But like watching it, I just felt like they would have just maybe stepped it up again. I think they would have got over.
I felt like they were. To be fair, on the day, I felt like they were on another level. To be honest, I felt like I think it ended up 4-1. Matthew Upson scored, but yeah, they were just on another level. But we couldn't get anywhere near them. It was just as simple as that.
Last one, because obviously you've got to go. Really appreciate you coming. Obviously, you're now at Bournemouth.
Yeah.
For the first time in your career, at this present moment, you're not starting as much as you would like.
Yeah.
What's that actually like for you? Is that just a mindset, or is it a thing where you know, let me just keep working hard, you'll get your chance and you'll do it?
Do you know what? It's like, it's tough. Mentally, it's tough because it's almost like this stage of my career is different because when I'm younger, you make mistakes. Now I'm older and all the younger players look up to me.
Yeah.
So it's almost like some days I come in and I'm a little bit down, but it's almost like I have to pretend because if I don't train properly, then I feel like the younger lads would be like, do you know what?
They'll be watching you.
JD's doing it, it's okay.
Yeah.
So it's almost like it's playing a different role where you got to think about yourself, but at the same time, you got to sort of like be a role model for the younger players, which is obviously it's the first for me. Like it's different. It's not easy, but I'll just get on with it. To be honest, I try and keep myself as sharp as possible, and sort of like get into that sort of like mindset where I think, okay, if you're not playing, then you got to almost not think about yourself, but you got to do what you do to make sure that at some point, if you get an opportunity, then you have to be ready. But it's tough because even at 36, I want to play every game. I'm still hungry. I wake up in the morning. I still get that feeling that I've always got for training. So it's hard.
Could you play 38 games?
Easy.
Yeah?
Yeah, of course.
Quickly, before you go, last one. Apart from you, best striker in the league, in your opinion?
What, now or just...
Yeah.
Oh, the best?
Yeah, no.
Aguero.
It's not no-brainer, isn't it?
Aguero is the best.
Oh, okay, cool. I was going to ask you something else, but I know you've got to sit on the fence with that.
Ask me, go on.
Do you think Harry Kane's world class?
He's always coming.
You can get on the fence.
I was always going to ask that question.
He's always coming.
Do you?
No.
Nah.
Why?
What's he done? He's a very good striker. Very good striker, but he hasn't done it consistently on a world stage. Like, he's not world class. He's not world class now.
I think he's...
Do you know?
Nah, come on.
I'm gonna be biased for many reasons because obviously Tottenham.
He was watching you, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was watching me when he was younger. So for me, if someone says to me, pick number one, I'll say Aguero.
Yeah.
I'll say Aguero.
Number two?
But we're talking about that plays now.
Yeah.
Huh? See, that's what I mean.
Right, is at the same time.
In terms of numbers, you have to say Harry because regardless if you like him or not, or you like the way he plays, or he hasn't done it in many. I just feel like in terms of numbers, because to be honest, I've had situations in my career where I've played games, and after the game I think, do you know what, you was rubbish today, but I scored 2 goals.
Yeah.
So do you know what I mean? It's not like a Messi who would be unbelievable, scoring unbelievable. I just feel like if you're scoring goals consistently, then.
But I think the problem is, Jermaine, though, people talk about like Spence. This is kind of one for him, but
For me?
That world class title Yeah, it's probably bounced around
Can't just throw it out
a little
there.
bit too often.
See, no,
Do you know what I mean?
this is the thing. Like, you see, like Harry Kane. Don't get me wrong. The numbers are crazy, and I'm not saying if I say he's not world class, it doesn't mean I'm saying I don't
rubbish.
rate him or he's not good. But like for me, it's like I always say it like the Ibrahimovic thing. If you go like 5-6 years ago and you say to someone, Ibrahimovic, do you think he's that good or world class? Some people might have been like, I'm not sure. But for me, it's a longevity thing. It's not just because he's doing it now. Like, fair enough, but it's almost like someone has a run, and then it's like, oh, I want to be the first to say that they're world class. Let's just let them do their career, and you might look back and say, you know what? Yeah, he was world class. It's not a comp to say he was or he wasn't first, because you never know. Like he's doing these crazy numbers. He might go 6-7 years and not, and then people will be like, maybe we were too hasty. Or he might go and do crazy numbers, and you say, wow, he is. We just don't know.
I remember when I scored a hat trick against Bulgaria for England, and obviously they made a big thing about it. They said, obviously Jermain Defoe was the only player to score a hat trick at the new Wembley at the time, blah blah blah. And I remember Ian Wright, someone said, the pundits and that, Ian Wright said something like, yeah, that's like world class finishing and stuff. And then Gary Lineker, I remember Gary Lineker saying, yeah, is he world class? Like, or he's a great player, but is he great? And I sat there and I thought, okay, I can understand where you're coming from, but at the same time, it's like when you lot were doing it, scoring hat tricks for England, and then people say, no, you're world class and you're great. So if we're doing the same, what's the difference?
Yeah, no, I'm just talking like, I think it's just thrown out there. So I wouldn't, if someone's had a run, I wouldn't just say they're world class. That's just a personal thing. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like for me, it's everything that comes with world class is a longevity thing. Can you do it consistently for X amount of time?
So, because you've got to go.
Oh, sorry.
Very, very quick question. Sorry if anyone else had questions, but we spoke too long. Go on, quick.
So what's going on, Jermaine?
you
I've
doing,
got
boss?
2 questions.
Stand
in
up,
one.
sorry. Stand up.
Oh, sorry.
Zeno?
Make yourself known.
What was the atmosphere like when you lost to Arsenal at White Hart Lane?
Which one?
When we won the league? When we won the league, and what actually did your team eat for you lot to all be sick?
That's a very good question.
I have a good question.
Do you want me to answer both?
Yeah, both, please.
Obviously, the derby, when I signed for Tottenham, I remember I had, because I've always wore Adidas boots from day one, but I think I was out of contract for a little bit. So I wore Nike for a little bit just before. So I was at West Ham, I wore Nike and I went back to Adidas. But I remember I had these red boots and I signed for Tottenham, went in the change room with my red boots on. And then I can't remember what player it was. He said, you know what? He said, you can't wear them. I said, what do you mean? He said, you can't wear red. We don't wear red. That's Arsenal. So from that day, that's when it hit me. And I thought, you know what? That rivalry, that's when it hit me and I thought, wow. So I always look forward to North London derbies. So obviously when we, you're talking about when they won the league there.
Yeah.
It was horrible. You wanted to get in your car and go home as quick as possible because Thierry, Ashley, all them lot were celebrating on the pitch.
Yeah.
And it was like, it's the worst day because you can win the league. You can't win a league at White Hart Lane. And for them, I can imagine it's probably the great, I think Thierry says the greatest title they won. Was it the Invincible season?
It was.
Yeah.
It was.
So it was just like, it was a
Beautiful
nightmare.
day. Beautiful day.
Vieira scored.
It was a nightmare.
And the West Ham, what did you lot eat?
I was fine. I was alright. I don't eat that rubbish. You know me. I don't eat all that rubbish. The boys are eating lasagna now. But obviously, we had the evening meal. We went to bed. I got up in the morning. The doctors phoned me. I said, Doc, what are you phoning me for? He said, are you okay? I said, yeah, I'm fine. He said, why? He said, 7 of the boys are ill. I said, what? So we've come down, Michael Carrick, Jenny, all of them lot. A massive game because it was like against West Ham,
Yeah.
team.
Last game of the season.
Last game of the season, wanted to finish 4th. And it was horrible. I think Michael Carrick still played. I don't know how he played because he was being sick all night, blah, blah, blah. I scored, of course.
Shot.
Yeah. And then, it was horrible. I was but lucky. I was fine. I didn't have it.
Cool. Well, yeah, thanks. I said I was going to keep you for... Oh, what, you want more questions?
Yeah.
Okay, go on. I rate that,
Jermaine, I've got a quick question.
Shout out, Steve.
Stephen, yeah. I was going to ask, what's the toughest team you've played against, or what sort of setups do you find difficult to play against? And can you give an example of a team?
Yeah, I remember when I played against Chelsea when Mourinho first come, and that's when they bought Makelele. And for me, it was different because normally you play against a 4-4-2. And it's sort of like, for me, in my head, I've got two centre-halves. If I'm playing with another strike partner, if it was Peter Crouch or someone, it was like, I'm playing against John Terry, I've got to be better than him, so I've got to be sharper than him, I've got to run him this way, I've got to do whatever.
Yeah.
But Makalele just stood here. So there was like two centre-halves, and Makalele stood there. I remember saying to him, like, move, man. I can't get the ball to feet. You want to run that way, it was impossible. I remember it was at Stamford Bridge. And I remember that game thinking, wow, this team's just on another level, because literally, I just couldn't get into the game. So I was frustrated because I just wanted a chance. I couldn't get into the game and that. But yeah, they were strong, man. But when he was the best. You see Kante doing it now, but that role, he was the best. He was the best, and that's why Zidane always said, I think it's for France. See that guy, wherever, like, I want him in the team because I can play better. Once he's in the team,
yeah. Thanks, man. You had the question gone?
Hi, Jermaine, you're right. Cheers for coming down. I'm Stephen, by the way. Like Stephen.
Shout out, Stephen.
I saw a goal this weekend, Gerard Deulofeu. I don't know if you saw it. He like beat one man, beat another man, and put it called. It made me think about just the art of like beating players in the game, because I feel like, well, the question to you, is that art kind of dying out of the game? And the second one following that would be, who was the best player like that you played with to actually beat a player and score? You know, you had your Joe Coles, your whoever. Like, who was the best that you played with at beating a man and scoring?
I saw that goal actually. It's rubbish defending though. So on that point of view, like if I was a defender watching it, you'd probably say, "Did you see the goal? It was a joke." Like if I'm a manager, I'm not even coming in the changing room after the game, because especially in the modern day game, I feel like in a modern day game where there's everyone's athletes. Like you literally get everything you want. Everyone's athletes, so you're always 100% for the games. So for a player to go past 1, 2, 3, 4 and score, you don't really see that anymore compared to like years ago. But I feel like, is it gone out the game? When, obviously, you mentioned Joe Cole, and I mean, he's one of the best I've seen. I always said he was quicker with the ball without. So I was like, how's that even possible? Some of the things he used to do as a 15-year... I always heard about this guy, Joe Cole, and I went to a place called Lillishall. I got a scholarship for 2 years, and he was my senior. So I heard about this Joe Cole, and I thought, right, I need to see this kid, because, you know, when you're young and that, you think, nah, I'm the best, I'm the guy. But when I saw Joe, I was like, wow, I couldn't believe it. And again, he was one of the reasons why I signed for West Ham as well with my friend Iz, and like obviously coming from East London. But all these sorts of players were just unbelievable. Him, Di Canio was special. Technically, he was unbelievable. Going on, Gareth Bale. I went to Tottenham, but Gareth wasn't like, he never used to do tricks. He was more like explosive. How? Because when I used to watch him run, I say, Gaz, you run like an athletics runner. Like your technique is like, he runs like the right way. Like he was more explosive, but in terms of raw talent, like I see him do things in training, and you know you're screaming. Like, subconsciously you start screaming. Was Adel Tarab. And I said it on Soccer AM recently. Like, he used to do things, and I'm like, do you know what? I wouldn't even think that quick to do that. Like, but he wasn't serious. All he wanted to do is do tricks. Well, for me, I always think, you know what? I'll just get a yard, just hit it, get my chance. But with him, he was gifted, and he could have gone on to, I mean, play for anyone, but mentality thing.
Last question. Make a quick one.
Jermaine, thanks for coming, guys. Eugene, two
Shout out,
questions.
Eugene.
The first one, you probably touched on this a bit earlier, but what team did you support growing up? And the second question is, after football's done, like, are you looking to go into management, or what's the next step?
Yeah, I think growing up, do you know what? When I was growing up, I wasn't like, oh, do you know what? That's my team, and I'm fanatical, and I got all the kits and that. I used to sort of like, I remember going to watch West Ham because it's my local team. A few times I went to Highbury to watch, not Arsenal, Ian Wright, because I used to watch the other players. I used to watch Wrighty, and even from then, for some reason, it's almost like I knew how important it was as a forward to make sure your movement's good. Because even when I was younger, I used to watch Wrighty, and no one ever said to me, do you know what? Oh, you need to watch his movement. I knew.
You just knew.
Yeah, so I used to watch his movement and stuff like that. And I mean, I was just upset. I loved him. I loved Wrighty. And what was the other question?
What's next?
What's after?
And then after football, I mean, obviously I've been doing a lot of pundit stuff, which when I speak to managers, even when I speak to Eddie, he says that it's stressful. But at the end of the day, I feel like if you love football, like I do, if you still love the game, then why not stay in the game? And I think like if I can sort of like do my badges, and at least I've got them, so longer like down the line, if I want to obviously become a manager or a coach, strikers coach, whatever it is, then I've got it in a locker and I can just I can use
Pick it up.
Love that. Cool. Well, Jermaine.
One question.
Sorry, Jermaine, thanks for coming.
Shout out Michael.
Every time.
Sorry, Michael. Anyone that listens to the podcast.
That's me.
That's
Michael.
Michael.
That's him.
That's Michael.
That's Freeway.
As always asked, who's the best defender you've come against?
Real.
And why?
Do you know what? I'm gonna show my age here. Anyone remember Marcel Desailly?
Of course. Come on. Of course.
So, excuse me. Even when I speak to like when I speak to the young lads at Bournemouth, I say, we speak about like Marcel Desailly. Who? I say, what?
The madness, isn't it?
I say, who? I have to start showing them pictures. And so I remember I played against Marcel Desailly. I played against the John Terry, Rio Ferdinand, Jonathan Woodgate. For me, the best. I didn't play against him because obviously I played in the same team as him. But the best was Ledley King.
Yeah.
I think
a lot of people have said that.
Even Thierry said that. I think Ledley was the best because I think the game was just so easy for him. He was quick. He was strong. He's the only defender I see that never used to slide tackle.
Yeah,
he didn't have
both feet
to.
as well.
Both feet. I used to say to him sometimes, I see him in training and then he would pass it short with his right foot, but then if he's got an option to play it long, he would have it on his right foot, then he'll bring it on his left and he'll play long.
Right.
So I say to him, what foot are you, Leds? He said, I can pass it short with my right, but I'm more comfortable hitting it longer with my left. So I said, so you're both footed then. So it was like, he was special, but one of the hardest players I played against, apart from Rio, was like Vincent Kompany before his injuries. He was tough, man. Because he could run, he was aggressive. I just felt like he had everything. But it's just unfortunate that he's had so many injuries, slowed him down a little bit, but he was tough.
Can I ask you a quick question? Oh. Yep, Stab.
I played, I think, not many times, probably just the once. But he was gone, but like not too many times. Not too many times, but obviously he was a machine.
Are we good to squeeze in one more? One more question? All right.
Last one, guys. Shout out Dicko.
Shout out Dicko.
He's slipping out.
It feels weird. Going back to the international thing, obviously you're from St. Lucia or Caribbean descent as well, and obviously we all commend you for playing for England. Would you encourage a lot more of our black younger youths or younger players to go to their own heritage or background as opposed to if they can't get into the England team?
Of course, because I just feel like international level, playing for your countries, there's no better feeling. And obviously, St. Lucian background or Dominican, I just feel like if that was sort of like, if St. Lucia had a football team and they took it serious, and I played for St. Lucia, it would be no different. You know, that same commitment, because you're playing for your country, you're representing your country, so that's like the pinnacle, because you can play for different clubs, but you're representing your country, and there's no better feeling, especially when you're standing there like singing the national anthem and stuff and that. But of course I would. If you feel like, we should never be realistic, but if you feel like, you know what, I don't feel like I'm going to get a chance in the England team, whether that's the under 21, 19s, 21s, or just go and play for Jamaica or St. Lucia, like, because you have to, because I just feel like there's no better feeling representing your country, because, you know what I mean, it's like I said before, it's the pinnacle and that, and you want to play in tournaments. There's no better feeling.
Cool, love that. No more questions, please, guys. Guys, we're gonna have literally a brief 2-3 minute break. 2-3 minute break, and we'll be right back. Okay, is that right? Yeah.
Yo, bro, I've got to go Bournemouth. Cool. You're all right.
2 minutes. Get your drinks and all of that.